Is Howard Gutman. Mr. Gutman, how are you? Welcome. Mr. Gutman.
Nederlands is niet gemakkelijk, heel moeilijk.
Nee, is heel erg moeilijk. We gaan het in het Engels doen. Dat is net iets makkelijker. Welcome again to our show.
Thanks
it's been
so
a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I've been gone for 7 months as the ambassador, but this is my 11th trip back since
already.
Yes, we spend about a week to 10 days a month in Belgium, 2 weeks in Washington. So I live in both countries.
Good. I guess you noticed that we had a visitor yesterday, the President of the United States of America. But I was wondering, where were you? I thought you were his friend, and nowhere around.
So we saw him, Michelle and I saw him about 3 weeks ago. He crashed a party of 11 returning ambassadors who threw our own reunion at the Fairmont Hotel.
He did?
We were not told he was coming. We were told a friend of ours who's the Secretary of Commerce was going to be there. So please show up on time. She's a friend of the 11 of us and our wives, the 22 of us. So we were all on time having a cocktail party. In walks Barack Obama. And they couldn't tell us he wanted to come to thank us all, because then they would have had to close the Fairmont Hotel and put up metal detectors for us.
Of course.
So they didn't announce it to anybody. But then in walks Barack. And so we spent 45 minutes to an hour. First he thanked the group, and then he took each couple and chatted about each of our times and thanked us for our service. But I knew at the time that I had a board meeting today in Belgium and a speech last night in Belgium. And they were both set before his visit was set. So it's important for me not to get in the way of the current ambassador.
Of course.
So I stayed away. I stayed in Antwerp. I had a speech in Genk.
She stayed away as well because she's ill.
She's ill. She's been a wonderful ambassador, serving with a great dignity and class. She's ill right now, but even the chargé, Mark Strel, is a terrific ambassador. So I could be in Antwerp. It was their day last night.
Okay, I see. 11th time in Belgium since you left us as an ambassador last summer. What pulls you back every time and again?
A few things. First of all, I have several board seats. I consult for Belgian companies. And by the way, I'm always ready for more.
Available.
I give speeches. And then we have dear, dear friends here. So we've had 4 weddings. We've had a funeral. But we had 2 weddings in one day. We had Herman Van Rompuy's son and a friend of ours in West Flanders' son.
The Van Rompuys are good friends of yours.
They're good friends. But so are the other people that you were just, you wouldn't know them, but they're your family friends. So when you leave, you spend 4 years in Belgium. You make friends for life, and you always have a part of your heart here.
I see. One of your friends is alderman in the city of Antwerp.
Indeed,
Sitting at the opposite side of the table.
And in fact, he is a fabulous ambassador for the United States and Belgium, because the Red Star Line Museum is really one of those things that unite Belgium and the United States, and this man put it together.
And
thank you.
Is that how you guys met? Then?
Yes, when I was alderman in Antwerp for the last 10 years, we've been planning and working on the Museum of Red Star Line. And I must say, in the 2 years before the opening, we had the opening in September last year, and it was thanks to Ambassador Gutman that really everything could be achieved to make sure the opening was there, the relations with the Ellis Island Foundation, the people from Washington and New York who came over. The ambassador opened for us also the National Archives in Philadelphia, in Washington, D.C. So without Ambassador Gutman, it would not have been possible to realize what we've done today with Red Star Line.
That's how you make friends.
I also saw 589 cities, villages, and communes of Belgium, every one.
Yeah.
So I met lots of people in Belgium.
Of
Philip's a dear friend.
Of course you did. One question about this strange story last spring, Mr. Gutman, about you soliciting prostitutes in a park in Brussels. Could you clear that out for us for once and for all?
And I appreciate it. And that wasn't quite the story, but I appreciate the chance. Since when I was ambassador, I was not allowed to address it. I appreciate the opportunity.
So please.
So more than 2 years earlier, I got asked by Washington about when I was allowed out without my security. And this park that I walk through to go to the Grand Place or leave my house, doesn't that have drug dealers and prostitutes? And I was seen talking to some people in the park. And I explained the rules. All 3 U.S. ambassadors in Belgium, the NATO, the EU, and I had permission to leave without security if it was not an official function, if you're just home at 4 in the afternoon. That's how you walk to the Grand Place or anything. But it's a beautiful park. Never seen a drug dealer. I've never seen a prostitute. Never. But I talked to lots of people. They looked into it and never a problem. I continued to serve for more than 2 years. And then 2 months before I was due to leave, someone got fired in Washington. Has nothing to do with me. And when they got fired, they claimed back that Hillary Clinton had covered up 7 cases where they had not disclosed the investigation. Not that I had actually done anything, but that they had not disclosed the investigation. That got picked up for 1 day by a Tea Party senator and a tabloid in America. That's how politics goes. Huh. But then when it hits the Belgian papers, it's no fun to be me. Not a great time, really rough. But I must tell you, and plus, well, so I felt terrible, but I had 2 more months to serve. State had absolutely no problem. Just don't make the issue about yourself. You do your job. They knew there was no problem. So I served my full 2 months. I served at the invocation of the king. Couldn't quite figure out how talking to someone could be a scandal anyway. And the park, it's now come out, I couldn't say it before, but the park is under 24/7 surveillance to protect the residence of the U.S. ambassador. So no one would be talking to someone who's a problem or do something wrong in that park from my embassy knowing it. None of it made sense, but I couldn't make the issue about me. But I'll tell you the thing you did learn. You learn about your friends. So people like Luc Bertrand or Nick Savris or Peter de Crème and Herman Van Rompuy, Chris Peters, that first night I had to give 2 speeches. And I turned to Michelle and said, I'll be darned if they're going to ruin the ambassadorship. I went out and gave 2 speeches. One was on corporate social responsibility. Chris Peters was the speaker before me. And when I was announced, he gave me a huge hug. When I got up there and said, look, you've seen the nonsense. You've seen my statement saying I did nothing wrong. And I'm going to continue to serve with the same dignity and ethics that I have served for 4 years. I got a standing ovation, and Chris gave me a big hug. And I will never forget that. I will never forget Herman or Peter or Princess Astrid or Luke.
She gave you a call as well, Princess Astrid.
Quickly, some of the people, you didn't get it out of the media. You know, they're sensationalists. That's their job. Some of the people figured, wait a minute, he's not being called back to Washington. The State Department doesn't have a problem. And then they realized it was talking more than 2 years ago. It's a nonsense story. And they called and said, look, when you're in the public light, you're going to get stories, but you've been a fabulous ambassador. You keep going. And when those people call, and it wasn't just Flemish, Jacques Barabé, Gaetan Hanekart, I had people all over. When they say we have your back, when Herman Van Rompuy throws you a goodbye party and Peter de Crème, Chris gives you a big hug, it matters a lot.
You're emotional about it.
You know, it's not easy. It's not easy, but they couldn't take that dream and turn it to a nightmare. But it's a challenge.
Yeah. Case closed.
Case closed. I appreciate it.
President Obama, you told us that you met him a few weeks ago then at the party he crashed. How is he? Is he the same man as the man he used to be? You know,
he is really good at this stuff because he keeps his blood pressure on keel. But I turned and said, we've both been sometimes, and you're grayer and I'm grayer. So he's grayer. But, you know, he laughed, and he's grayer. He takes a lot of incoming. I had it one day, a one-day story. He has it 3 times a week. But the man is able to keep the keel, and look at the results he's achieved. Look, we've diffused Iran. We are closer to Europe than ever. If you have this problem with Russia and Crimea, aren't you glad Barack Obama's there to work with Herman and work with Barroso?
Yeah, I guess so. But on the other hand, he didn't manage to keep all the promises he made.
Well, you know, my country has difficulty and stalemates with politics, but if you look what he's done, our economy was over 10% unemployment when he came in. It's 6.7% now. Gay marriage is there. He insured 40 million uninsured with the health care. It ain't easy. Believe me, when they come after, as you see. Our relations with Europe, when I got to Belgium, the popularity rating of the United States was 8% favorable, 65% unfavorable. Today, it's more than 2 to 1 favorable. That's the view of most of the world. And from that, he's been able to change.
Once a diplomat, always a diplomat.
I believe in the man, I believe in our country, and I mainly believe in the Belgian-American partnership.
Yes, you do. I have one more question.
But I'm going to Brazil.
Are you?
First 3 matches I'm seeing,
and
the Belgian matches. The Belgian matches. We'll be in Bilo, we'll be in Sao Paulo, and we'll be in Rio. First of all, the Belgians got great cities and great places. America is playing in jungles somewhere out there. My son's... And second, we know the Belgian players pretty well, so we're going to be... My whole family's going for the first 3 matches.
Ah, wonderful. That's the Belgian national soccer team. But what about our clubs? I mean, you visited every single of the 589 communities in the country. Was there any time left to go to a soccer game?
I used to go to football all the time. But I explained to us that I had to change my allegiance depending on the politics. So the first 2 years... I had Prime Minister Leterme, who's a Standard fan, and then Didier Reynders was the finance minister and sat here. So they gave me the seat in the middle.
Right.
I said, I get the prime minister and the finance minister for 3 hours. I'll root for the New York Yankees, and that would be hard for me if I get the prime minister. So we got to do business, which is, I'd love to address one other thing, which is why people ask me about the spying scandal. Did I ever read Herman Van Rompuy or Peter Krem's mail or listen in on their phone calls? And I decided very early when I got here that the best way to represent my country was to earn the trust of Belgium and to have a win-win. So I never read anything, I never listened to anything that a Belgian wouldn't want me to, and I'd say, look, if I have to know anything from Yves Leterme or Didier Reynders or Peter de Krem or anybody else in Belgium, I just ask them. That's what Barack Obama said about Angela Merkel. If he wants to know about economic recovery or Afghanistan, he just calls her. Well, that's what I did. So that was the first year. After Leterme left, Sasha Kledgens joined Anderlecht. He's an American. He's an American. Sasha's a friend.
Sasha's a friend.
Sasha's a friend. So then I started doing Anderlecht, and Herman went to Anderlecht.
So if I ask you...
if Club Brugge can sign some Americans, we're right there.
We're right there.
From now you go to Bruges.
How come I say Brugge and you say Bruges? Don't we have this little different here?
Brugge.
We'll work it out.
We'll work it out. Okay, thank you very much. It was great having you, an ambassador to Belgium for life. Howard Gutman, dames en heren. Heel erg bedankt. Bedankt ook vader Zojitza.